Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the channel. As always, if you're new here, please make sure you subscribe. You let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you're joining as part of the live stream, get involved in the discussion, all of that good stuff. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I can't believe we're saying that. 1,000 subscribers. A lot to unpick. In this live. There's a lot of talk going on. Let's start with the news first. So let's kill some news. Should we kill some news straight away? I think we should do that. That should be the first thing we do on this live stream today. Let's kill the news because, of course, we know Alexander Isak has not traveled with Newcastle. We know that he wants a move now away from Newcastle, and I love it. Because all the Newcastle fans, when we dropped a Newcastle match preview a couple of months ago, were getting onto us in the comments, talking about how they battered us, they beat us, they had a better season. Now they've lost their key player and their top target in the space of 6 or 7 weeks. But let's forget all that. Let's talk about the thing that is never going to happen. Chelsea fans, I hate to break it to you, we are not going to sign Alexander Isak. It ain't going to happen. I'll be surprised if it happens. But I don't think we sign him. And I'm not against it either. The latest, let's try and find the latest on Alexander Isak, because I'm seeing a lot of Chelsea fans sort of saying, oh, I wonder if we'll sign. We're not going to sign him. We won't sign him. And I'm sort of glad that we won't sign him either. A very good player. Don't get me wrong. He's a very, very good player. He's a player that would definitely catapult us to the next level of what we need. But here's the latest on Alexander Isak. Here it is. As clear as day to see. Fabrizio Romano confirms that Chelsea are not in the race to sign Alexander Isak. Chelsea are not actively working on Alexander Isak's deal and no interest in proceeding despite reports. CFC are very happy with their strikers and fully focused on Xavi Simons and Jorrel Hato deals now. We're going to talk about Hato shortly. The club working on Isak deal is, and remains Liverpool. So, look, if he ends up at Liverpool, he ends up at Liverpool. If he doesn't, he doesn't. It's no concern of Chelsea's. I think we need to be realistic and say that we will not be signing Alexander Isak. This is a player that wanted astronomical wages to stay at Newcastle. He's going to be demanding very similar wages wherever he ends up. If it's Saudi, Liverpool, or even if it was Chelsea, he's going to want astronomical wages. We already know, we spoke about it yesterday. We don't pay out over the odds for players anymore. That is the old regime of 300 grand a week. This new regime is not paying that. They're not going to pay you 300 grand a week. So let's forget the whole news. Let's put it to bed. We are not going to sign Alexander Isak. Could we do with Alexander Isak? Of course we could, because he is a very good player, but it's not happening. But some striker news to talk about. This came out recently, literally just under half an hour ago. Mark Zhu. It says here that Fabrizio Romano understand that Chelsea have opened doors to loan move for Mark Gu, but no option to buy will be included. The clear priority for Chelsea is loan in England, want Gu to develop and play in England next season. Now, this is something that we kind of spoke about a couple of weeks ago on the pod, on the channel. We sort of said we can't really, if we do bring in João Pedro, we got Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson does stay. I was saying this last week. If we keep all four of those, one of them is going to have to go. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Nicholas Jackson. Does he end up at Manchester United? Does he stay at the club? Mark Gu, I think, would benefit the most from a loan move. And I think if we can get him a loan move, especially in England, I'm glad it says in England, because I think that will benefit him. I think it will benefit us as a club when we get him back the following season. You know, he done really well last season in the Conference League. He done it in some of the Premier League games as well. I think some of the cup games he played in. But, you know, he did have that big injury that kept him out for a couple of months. I think Mark Gu is a very good player. I think he's very raw. I think he's a player that will hopefully fit into our squad, if not next season, the season after that. He's still relatively young, so we have to factor that in. But he is definitely a player that I feel has the chance to be something at Chelsea. And I think going out on loan is not a bad thing for him. I think if we can get him the right loan deal, I'm thinking maybe the Championship, the lower end of the Premier League, maybe you're looking at maybe, I don't know, a Burnley or um, I don't know. I mean, even someone like Coventry City. I mean, that's not, the Frank Lampard link is there. He could maybe go to Coventry City and they were so close on the playoffs last season. And a loan like that, I think, would work for him. I think going to the Championship would not be a bad thing. And I think if I was Mark Gue, I'd favour that more than going into the Premier League. The reason I say that is if you think back to some of the loans that we've put out before, they haven't always worked. I think back to Billy Gilmore. I think he was at Norwich at one point or a club like that, and he was hardly playing. Ogunchukwu had a bit of issues last season on loan, didn't really get much game time. So I think if we can get him the right loan move where he's consistently playing football, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. How much football was he honestly going to play with João Pedro, Liam Delap, potentially Nicholas Jackson? If we do keep Christopher Nkunku, there's another option. So how much football was he seriously going to play at Chelsea next season? Probably not a lot. And I think if he can go away, develop, come back, you never know. Jackson might go in the January window. We might recall him. He might go in the summer next season. We might need him then. So I think he's still young. He's still raw. He's still a very good player. One that we need to keep an eye on 100%. But there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on. Let's forget all about the other clubs. Let's talk about our clubs, because obviously Chelsea's the main source of this truth. But we've got to talk about, let's go back to Alexander Isak, because I just don't understand why I don't know why we're linked with him. We've got our strikers. The owners are happy with the strikers. They don't want him. They're not going to pay for him. So I don't know why fans are fixed on trying to get him to the club, or they're trying to link him to our club. Let me just quickly show you guys this as well. This will probably echo a lot of what I've just said. Here we go. Chelsea have no interest in proceeding on a deal for Alexander Isak. They are very happy with their current strikers, remain fully focused on deals with Jorrel Hato and Xavi Simons. Chelsea's current owners have a zero tolerance policy to the club's name being linked to players that are not pursuing. It's there in black and white for everyone to see. We are not signing Alexander Isak. Do we need Alexander Isak? Of course we do. We know what he brings. He's Premier League proven, very, very good player. The problem is the fee is ridiculous. We've just spent a lot of money. We're still spending money this season, and the wages will be a massive problem. And I can't see us, I just can't see us bending over backwards. If I'm honest, I don't think he even ends up at Liverpool. I think Liverpool would attempt to get him. I think he's probably shit himself a little bit and realized Etakite's gone there and he wants to move, but I just don't see that happening myself personally. But before we go into some of the other news, I want to go back to some news that came out yesterday, because this came out yesterday. We done a video on Jorrel Hato yesterday. A lot of concrete information was coming out that he wants to move. He wants to get the deal done. We weren't sure about the fee at the time and all the rest of it. But after the live stream, after we came off air yesterday, news did drop last night, 8:35, directly from Fabrizio Romano. He says here that Jorrel Hato has asked to leave Ajax after reaching agreement with Chelsea over personal terms. I did say yesterday it would not be a problem. It will not be a problem. It will not be a problem personal terms wise. He fits into our wage structure completely. He's probably the one and only player that is so far away from a difficult transfer deal. He wants to move. He wants Champions League football. He wants to excel. As I keep saying to a lot of players that are coming to our club, there's a World Cup coming up. A lot of these players want to be in that World Cup, and he's going to be one of those that want to push through the door through the Holland team, the Netherlands team. He wants to be in it. So Jorrel Hato has asked to leave. I reckon this deal, I said yesterday, still gets done by the end of the weekend. I think I'll still stick to that. It says here as well, follows on, negotiations for Jorrel Hato are advancing to the final stages with a fee of around 40 million euros being discussed between Chelsea and Ajax. Again, I'm not against that. I did say yesterday, if we can get him for 40 million, I think we've got ourselves a really good deal. That's in the region of maybe what, £36 million there or thereabouts. So that's not a bad deal at all. That's not a bad deal for a player that can play left back, left centre back. We went through what his strengths are, his qualities are yesterday. But if we can get this deal done, Xavi Simon's done. Let me know what are you rating? What are you rating the window, the transfer window? Is this a really good transfer window for Maresca and Chelsea? I personally think it is. I think this is a really good window. If we can get these deals done, this is a really good window. I think if we can get it done, it's yeah, if we get it done, it's a solid window. Of course, the goalkeeper would have been spot on. If we got a goalkeeper as well as, Gittins, as well as Delap, João Pedro, looks like Xavi Simons, and also Jorrel Hato coming through the doors at Cobham. If we got the goalkeeper to add to that this window, I think we would have been onto something brilliant, man. I think we would have been onto something really good. Um, but credit where credit's due. You know, players are not messing around. They want to come to the champions of the world. They don't want to mess around with that at all. Let's go to some of the big news that's part of the title of this stream, because we did mention yesterday that Renato Veiga was in direct talks with Atletico Madrid. I think I did say yesterday that this deal should not be a problem. How wrong I was. I'll be honest, I admit when I'm wrong, I admit when I'm right. I was wrong yesterday. I said this deal shouldn't be a problem. Um, I said we had a really good relationship, I think, with Atletico Madrid over previous transfers. I said obviously the João Felix, Conor Gallagher, Saul Niguez as well. We've had some decent deals. They haven't worked out for us, but we've had some good in terms of business between the two clubs. It's been okay. It's been good. But this deal here now, Atletico Madrid's decision to put the deal for Renato Veiga on hold won't stop Chelsea in their talks for Jorrel Hato. Now, Renato Veiga clearly wants first team commitments. He wants to be regarded as a centre back. He doesn't want to be playing as a left centre back. He doesn't want to be playing in a defensive midfield role. He wants to be given the assurances wherever he ends up, he's going to be playing as a centre back on the left side. We can't give him that. We're bringing in Jorrel Hato to do that job for us. I'll be honest, even though this deal looks like it's gone stale and sour for Atletico Madrid and Renato Veiga, I still think there's going to be clubs knocking around for Veiga. I really do. I think, of course, you'd want the deal to be done very soon. You'd want it to be done very quickly or almost simultaneously and, side by side with the Hato deal, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Yeah, Atletico Madrid are now pushing to complete the deal for David Hanko from Feyenoord. Currently, a deal is financially easier for Atletico due to being below Chelsea's asking price for Renato Veiga. I do feel a little bit like Chelsea are trying to not prize him out of a move, because I think they want rid of Veiga. Veiga wants to go. But I do feel that maybe, and some people some people have said this to me before, maybe we need to lower the valuation. 40 million is a lot for a player that's hardly really had any standout performances. I can't think of too many standout performances in a Chelsea shirt. He was okay for Juventus, and we have to remember we got 5 million for the loan fee to get him to go to Juventus. So it's not like we're short of money. It's not like we're losing a superstar. We're just losing a player that has shown that he can play left centre back. I think Chelsea will get this deal done. Not with Atletico. There could be there's going to be other suitors. I think Bayern Munich was another one that really was interested in Renato Veiga, but I don't see them paying 40 million. I think if they're going to get him, they're going to get him at a reduced price, maybe, 30 million, 35 million, but the deal will get done. One thing about Chelsea, they will get that deal done because I feel they need to. And I think if they do get that deal done, it's not going to, either way, this does not impact the Hato deal. The Hato deal is going to be done. Xavi Simons is going to be done. Those two deals will be done. As we said yesterday, there's a lot of outgoings that we talk about a lot, and we forget about some of these players some of the times, but they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. What's everyone's thoughts, actually? Leave your thoughts in the comments. What's your thoughts on Renato Veiga? Because although we're bringing in Jorrel Hato, um, do we need to still have further cover? I said yesterday we need two players per position for depth, quality and depth. That's all I care about this season is having the quality in depth. Do we still need a Renato Veiga at the club just as a backup, just as a final backup? I'm thinking back to this is a very extreme scenario, but I'm thinking back to when we lost Petr Cech and I think we lost Kudacini, if not in the same game. I think it was in the same game. I feel like it was the same Reading game. I'm pretty sure we lost both our goalkeepers. And we ended up with Hilario as our main goalkeeper. I think he was playing in the Champions League at one point. Do we need to make sure that we have cover for the cover? Or am I being too OTT with it? Because I feel like Renato Vega is a very good. Maybe he wants assurances of first team football. Maybe I was right first time when I said that. But I think if we get him, Hato comes in, Cucurella is there. We still have options. We still have a lot of games to play this season, and I just think if we lose him, are we gonna come back on that one and think to ourselves we missed out? But I don't know. It's a tough one. It is a tough one. This story does not go away. And the fact it's not going away worries me. Alejandro Garnacho wants a Premier League move. Chelsea remain attentive to the situation. Worries me. It worries me because I feel this deal, a lot of people feel this deal hangs on whether Nicholas Jackson goes to Old Trafford. I'm going to be honest, I don't think it matters whether he goes to Old Trafford. I think United look how quick they got rid of Marcus Rashford. They're not hanging around. They want to get rid of the dead wood at Chelsea. Now, not dead wood at United, but not hopefully to Chelsea. But you look at last season with Jadon Sancho, that didn't work. It didn't really work for us. And I think Garnacho would be another Jadon Sancho. Why would you want to go and sign Jadon Sancho's backup? This story's not going away, and it worries me that I think we might test the waters nearer the end of the transfer window. And we might do one of those weird deals, 2 or 3 days near the end of the window and try and bring him in on a really desperation from United. They want to get rid of him. We might come in at a low fee. Maybe we'll offer like a little incentive. I don't know, sell on or something. But I feel like we might try and get him. And it worries me because 1, we don't need him. 2, he's not good enough. And 3, where does he fit into our squad? Where does he fit into the squad that we've currently got? I always say this, if a club wants to get rid of a player so desperately, you have to read between the lines why and why they want to get rid of him, and more so the manager. If a manager is dying to get rid of a player, it's very rare that a manager is happy to see a good player leave his club. Like, if he was that good, why are United not fighting for him? Why are they not offering him everything under the sun to stay at the club? There's something that just doesn't sit right with this Garnacho deal, and I don't know what it is. I think a lot of it for me is off-field antics, is social media antics. We don't need, over the years, we've had toxic players at the club where they come in. We've just got where it looks like we've got a really good unit of players, at the club. Why bring someone in that's going to disrupt all of that? And like I said, he's not even that good. Without even looking at his stats, and like I said yesterday, I'm not a stats guy, but he doesn't even warrant a start at Old Trafford. How is he walking into a Chelsea squad? And I agree with this comment here. What is our concern if Gattuso wants a Premier League move? I know João Pedro is considered striker now, but he's capable of playing on the left wing. If you want to touch on the yeah, I agree with that. We've got so many players. This comment here is actually a decent comment. I don't know who it is, but that's a really good comment because why do we need to sign a player that we've got so much cover for? Oh no, I don't know. I don't agree with it. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. For me, it's a pointless transfer. If we do that, Do you know what? If we do it, I'd rather we kept Jadon Sancho. I'd rather we kept Jadon Sancho because I don't see the logical reason for bringing him in. I wouldn't see the logical reason. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Carney Chukwemeka. Let's move on to Carney because Carney Chukwemeka um, looks set to be leaving. Now, he's had a really good loan spell at Borussia Dortmund, as it says there. Um, Mike McGrath is reporting on this now, and it also says that RB Leipzig are also interested in trying to sign Carney Chukwemeka. Now, I think, again, like I said yesterday, Carney Chukwemeka is a player that has unfortunately just not been given the game time, but he has to go. And I think he'll do well at Borussia Dortmund. Having a loan with Borussia Dortmund's a really good squad to go to if you want to try and excel and prove yourself that you can go to a higher level. You only have to look at some of the players that have come out of that structure there, the setup over the last 10, 15, 20 years. They have a really good structure at the club and it works well. So I think he'd do well in the Bundesliga. I think he's done well there last season. I think for me, the concern is that what we don't want to do, and slowly we're getting there. Don't forget, next week is the end of July. So we're talking about August, is that the thought of going into that preseason with some of these players still here, still floating around Cobham. I know we're bringing in players, which is great, but you also want to see some certain players leave. And we haven't really seen any players leave our club so far this season. So that worries me a little bit that we're not getting certain players out the door that I would expect. Like Sterling's another one. Like Sterling's just kind of hanging around. He's not really there. Do you know what I mean? He's not really doing anything. He's just there. He's just hanging around, loitering around the place. We need to get rid of him. Unfortunately, Carney Chukwemeka might have to go. We just need to get rid of players. We really do. Because I think, we just need to get rid of some players. We need to get rid of some players, don't we? Interestingly, still no front of shirt sponsor. You'd think we'd get like a bit of news on that. You'd think we'd get a bit of news on that, but we've got nothing on the front of shirt sponsors so far. This guy here. I mean, I'm not one for quoting people with unreliable sources, but it's things like this. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Let me show you guys. It's things like this that worries me as Chelsea fan base because these are the kind of tweets that run narratives. And as much as, yes, we've probably been interested at previous times, but it says here that this is from an account called Secret Source. Not sure how secret and how saucy the source is, but it says here that Chelsea have been long-time admirers of Alexander Isak and have never left the race. Well, that's a bit of bullshit because we have. If the Swedish striker remains at Newcastle this season, Chelsea will for sure attack the situation next season unless Liverpool, who are pushing relentlessly, manage to land him this summer. We won't get him. We won't get him. I mean, it's things like that you've got to be careful of online because people will just make up nonsense. They really will. They really will. And that's the worry for me. That's the worry. You don't want to go into the false narrative stage. Going into the false narrative stage is not good at all. Here we go. This is Sky Carve on Sky. Chelsea have complete faith in their strikers they have in their squad. Now, who am I going to believe? People that are probably a bit more closer and have links to the club, or some random guy on Twitter. But we can't. We don't need. Do we really need to go and get Alexander Isak? What sort of message also would that send out to the two that's on the screen right now? If we went and got Alexander Isak, where does that leave Ja Pedro, Liam Delap? Where does it leave Mark Gu? Where does it leave Nicholas? I don't think we need him. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I think he's a very, very good striker. He's top notch. He's better than probably both of these combined. But the problem is that we've brought two strikers in already. So bringing in a third striker now, you would have to question the the logistics of that. You'd have to question the sanity of some of the people making these choices at the top. It just wouldn't make any sense to bring in Alexander Isak right now. Now, if it was other way around and we didn't have Liam Delap and we only had João Pedro, and we were looking actively to get rid of Nicholas Jackson, then I'd sort of understand it. But we've brought in two strikers. And like, at what point do people think we're going to be then going out to get Alexander Isak? It don't make any sense. Here we go. A bit of news here from Matt Law. The Club World Cup has been good for Christopher Nkunku's market, and I'm told he has interest from a number of teams in Italy and obviously Bayern too. Forest made an inquiry, and Newcastle has also made an inquiry. There's a lot of interest there now. I suspect it's more than likely he goes abroad. So we was right. We were right. We were saying on the pod on the channel that basically we feel that that Christopher Nkunku was only being played to put him in a window for shock value, to give people the opportunity to see what he can potentially do. And I think when you do that, it's always going to be a thing that potentially, he was never going to stay at the club. I said yesterday it'd be highly unlikely that he stays, but it would also be good if he could stay, because I still think if he goes abroad, he's gonna hit the ground running and he's gonna do really well. I think he's a good player. I think Chelsea would be stupid to sell to any club, especially Newcastle, especially Forest, any other team in the Premier League. I think they'd be stupid to sell him there. I get the Bayern links, and I would assume it's maybe like a Napoli or someone like that that's linked with him in Italy. So we'll have to see. But be ashamed to let him go, because like I keep saying, I think there's a really good good player in there. Bit more here from Matt Law on Morgan Rogers, obviously heavily linked with us in the past, knows Cole Palmer very well, knows Liam Delap very well, I think Romeo Lavia as well. Matt Law says here that I still think in Chelsea's absolute dream perfect scenario, they would probably sign Morgan Rogers, and they're definitely still interested in Morgan Rogers. But the issue that they've got is he's one of the players that Villa are telling everyone that he's not for sale. Now everyone has a price, but clearly the price would have to be astronomically high. Again, very similar to the Alexander Isak. I just can't see this deal happening. I can't see it happening. I think Chelsea have been smart in the window. I think we've been smart in the way that we've been able to go and get the players that we needed, the Gittins, João Pedro, Liam Delap, Asugo. I think we've been smart in that way, but then I also think, have we rushed in the market, and maybe we should have looked at, rather than going to get Gittins, do we go and look at Morgan Rogers? Did we bite the bullet too early with Delap? I'm not saying that I'm against any of these signings, but did we bite the bullet too early? Did we do it too early for those deals? And Alexander Isak's now sort of flirting around with the fact he wants to leave Newcastle. So I can't see this deal being done. I love Morgan Rogers. I think he's a very, very good attacking midfield option. I think he's good on and off the ball for Villa. I think he's a very good player, and I think he'd fit in our squad very, very well. I just, like Matt Law saying there, I just can't see a deal being struck where it suits Villa, it suits Chelsea in terms of the wage structure, the fee for the player, unless we send someone as part of that deal. I'm thinking like a Keenan Dewsbury Hall, Raheem Sterling, someone like that in the other direction to Villa Park. But I can't see us going out paying outright, like for just money for Morgan Rogers. I don't think we would do that. Maybe a part deal. Maybe we send a Sterling, Keenan Dewsbury Hall there, but I can't see it. I just can't see that. Yeah, this is a good point as well. Although I mentioned Dortmund, this could sweeten the move. Very much like the deal for Eze, while speaking about Trevor Chalobah last week, this could sweeten the move. Carney Chukwuemeka has now been raised in Xavi Simons talks for RB Leipzig. Now, if we can, because I think Xavi Simons is going to sign. We know he's going to sign. Personal terms, no issue. He wants to move very much like Jorrel Hato. Carney Chukwuemeka wants out, as I said before. This could sweeten the deal. That's come from Ben Jacobs, mentioning that on there as well. So that's also a bit of news. That scares the hell out of me. Yeah, we don't want and don't need. We don't want and we don't need Garnacho at the club. Now, João Felix still currently working on a deal to go to Benfica. Reports, although this is from yesterday or early hours of this morning. Yes, this morning I think it was to say that there's more talks going on for clubs to try and negotiate a deal. Um, I don't think it'll be a problem. Like I said yesterday, I think this deal will get done. It's a case of time and when, but I think it will get done. I think Felix wants to move. I think he wants to go back to comfortable surroundings. It's unfortunate because he's a good player again. Very good player. Someone that we've heavily relied on at times. Unfortunate not to get good minutes under his belt for us, but yeah, I just think it's going to be a TBC. It's going to be a slow couple of weeks, I think, in the transfer market for us because I do think we'll still dip into the market for players. I think we'll still go in for one or two key players. Um, and then I also think as well, this is Chelsea Football Club. This is Chelsea Football Club. Don't be surprised if we do make some really shocking. I mean, I'm talking back to the William Gallas, Ashley Cole days where, before we had Fabrizio Romano, when we actually didn't know what was happening. I'm talking about those days. I would not be surprised if there's one or two big transfers that happen at Chelsea. I don't know who they are. I don't know what that entails, but I do feel there's maybe one or two more. And a part of me, as I was thinking this morning, maybe that's why we're trying to get cover for certain areas so early, so the other areas are covered. One of the things that we've done in the past under this new ownership is we've kind of been really sporadic and scatterguns approach in terms of our signings and our targets and trying to get negotiations done. I'll be honest, I feel this season so far, upcoming season, we've been a bit more relaxed and focused more so on getting a deal done, moving on to the next target, rather than trying to throw all our deals all over the place. We're getting the deal done, we're moving on to the next deal. We get another deal done, we move on to the next target. And I think that's just how we should be done. But I do think there might be one more, maybe two, but I feel like it's going to be one more big deal coming through Chelsea. And I think what we're trying to do is line up all our areas first, and then we're going to bring in that. So, because looking back at any of these signings we've signed so far, would you say that any of them are like a marquee signing? Like, who's the marquee signing so far this season? But I don't think we've really got one. We haven't really gone out and thought, you know, we haven't got ourselves that marquee sort of statement signing of the season that says we are now committed to winning the Premier League or we're committed to trying to win the Champions League. We haven't got that. Liverpool's got theirs. I'd say City might have theirs. Arsenal have now got theirs. We don't really have that marquee sort of signing so far this season, I think anyway, unless people in the chat want to prove me wrong. But I don't think we've got the marquee one. We haven't got that signing that says we're going to go and win the Premier League. So I think there's a big, I still think there's a big signing coming up. I think there's going to be a big signing. Whoever that is, I don't know. It won't be an Osimhen, I don't think. Obviously, it's not Gyökeres now. Maybe Sesko. Maybe do we go and get another striker? I don't know. But I think if we do that, I think Jackson has to go on a permanent. Mark Gu has to leave on a loan. But then I still question what happens to Liam Delap. What happens to João Pedro if we bring in another striker? Ideally, be a goalkeeper, but I think we sign a centre back. I think we sign another centre back. I think the aim for this club is to get rid of Axel Dazazi, Benoit Badiashile. Unfortunately, I think Trevor Chalobah's on that list. So there's 3 outgoings. I think we bring in a top solid centre back to go with Colwell, Tosin, and Jorrel Hato, who can play there, but he's not naturally a left centre back. So I still think we're going to need cover. I think we bring in a top centre back this summer. And I don't know who that is, but I feel like the club's going to do something crazy in the window. Because I feel like we're doing things very, very sensible this season in terms of picking out the correct sign. And so I don't know who it's going to be, but I think we're going to sign someone. I really do. Be interesting. Really interesting. Don't forget, guys, if you're in the chat and you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe because we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're trying to get there before the season starts. So if you haven't already, make sure you smash the subscribe button. Don't forget, like the video, leave your thoughts, all of that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow morning, as always. More transfer news. Hopefully, we get the Hato deal done soon. Xavi Simons. We need to start getting some. Well, we need to prepare for the window to shut and to start our season. So we're going to be talking obviously a lot about the season coming up over the next couple of weeks as well. Don't forget the mini documentary series. Tonight is going to be Gary Cahill. Tomorrow's Gianfranco Zola. If you hit the From the Shed End, go over there. Make sure you subscribe first of all, and then hit the playlist for mini documentary series. Make sure you tune in for that one. Until tomorrow, we'll be back. Thank you very much for watching. We're out.